A quick thank you to my supporters on Patreon who help make these videos possible. There's a link to the Patreon community in the description of this video if you'd like to learn more about how to support this channel through Patreon. Whether or not the established automakers like it or not, the EV revolution is here, much in part thanks to Tesla, and Big Auto is feeling the heat. Recently, the Ford, Stellantis, and Volkswagen CEOs have each publicly admitted how far they are behind in EV manufacturing, with both Ford CEO Jim Farley and VW CEO Herbert Diess specifically mentioning Tesla's lead over their own companies. I'm going to dive into some very key quotes from these CEOs about Tesla and electric vehicles in general, and then I'm going to give my reaction and talk about how far Tesla is when it comes to electric vehicles. On December 1st, Reuters published an article entitled, "Stellantis CEO Says EV Cost Burden is Beyond the Limits for Automakers." For reference, the Stellantis group includes a number of major auto brands, including Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Fiat, Ram Trucks, and several more. Here are a few of the quotes from that Reuters article from Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares. External pressure on automakers to accelerate the shift to electric vehicles potentially threatens jobs and vehicle quality as producers struggle to manage the higher costs of building EVs. If you've been following Tesla's progress and electric vehicles in general for the last several years, you'll know that not too long ago, a lot of analysts and news agencies were talking about the fact that once big auto manufacturers start making electric vehicles, that companies like Tesla are going to be in trouble. However, as Carlos Tavares mentioned, the CEO of Stellantis, creating a new electric vehicle, manufacturing electric vehicles is not simple at all. It's actually quite complicated because it's completely different from internal combustion engines. The Stellantis CEO went on to say governments and investors want manufacturers to speed up the transition to electric vehicles, but the costs are beyond the limits of what the auto industry can sustain. Beyond just the environmental impact, the reason why governments, investors, and consumers are demanding a speed up for the transition to electric vehicles is because Tesla has shown it's possible, and a company can make a compelling electric vehicle for the masses like the Tesla Model 3 that customers do indeed want and that can be manufactured at scale and at a profit. Now that the market is demanding more electric vehicles and compelling electric vehicles, these companies, these established automakers are going to have to step up their game, or they're not going to be able to deliver an electric vehicle that customers want, and Tesla will steal a lot of their market share. I am glad that VW, which is definitely an established automaker, one of the largest auto manufacturers in the world, seems to be taking electrification seriously with their new electric vehicles. And also Ford has a couple great entrants like the Ford Mustang Mach-E and also the F-150 Lightning. However, a lot needs to be done in the space of electrification, especially when it comes to the established automakers. The Stellantis CEO went on to say, what has been decided is to impose on the automotive industry electrification that brings 50% additional costs against a conventional vehicle. There is no way we can transfer 50% of additional costs to the final consumer because most parts of the middle class will not be able to pay. While this 50% cost increase may be true for Stellantis because they don't have the scale and they don't have all their manufacturing set up yet, and the initial costs are very high, Tesla has proven that it's possible to produce electric vehicles at scale and at a profit. Tesla is selling vehicles like the Tesla Model 3 right now, the rear-wheel drive version, for around $45,000, and they're making a profit on that vehicle. In the end, when it comes to manufacturing complexity, manufacturing an electric vehicle is a lot less complex than manufacturing an internal combustion engine vehicle. So once battery prices come down just a little bit more, this will allow electric vehicles to, at least at the very lowest bar, be on par with internal combustion engine prices. But also, I believe they could come below internal combustion engine car prices once the electric vehicle market is a little bit more mature. Now I'd like to move over to some comments from Ford CEO Jim Farley. In a recent meeting in November of this year with his employees, Ford CEO Jim Farley mentioned the following according to an Inside EVs article. If Ford was a $1 trillion company, our stock would be worth about $250 a share. Think about the value creation of Tesla right now. And they have the resources, smart people. The Model 3 is now the best-selling vehicle in Europe, not electric, flat out. It was the best-selling vehicle in the UK. Most months, it's the best-selling vehicle in California. Not just electric, but overall. If we're going to succeed, we can't ignore this competition anymore. Tesla's market cap recently surpassed $1 trillion as compared to Ford's market cap, which sits somewhere close to $80 billion. This large market cap not only shows investors' confidence in Tesla, but it also gives them the advantage of being able to raise capital without diluting their stock at a great number. They could raise several billion dollars, Tesla can, without a great dilution of their stock. However, that same amount would dilute the Ford company stock quite a bit. So this is actually a huge advantage for Tesla. Notice that Jim also mentioned the smart people that are working for Tesla. And of course, one of the big reasons for Tesla's success is all the talented engineers and the talented employees at Tesla that work hard every day to build and design their electric vehicles. One of the Tesla advantages that a lot of people don't think about or don't mention is the fact that Tesla does attract some of the top talent in the industry. And with all this talent, they're actually able to stay far ahead of the competition and accelerate their pace. It's also important to note that Jim talked about the Tesla Model 3 outselling other conventional vehicles in California, for instance, the UK, and in various parts of Europe. And this is really important because an electric vehicle has never done this before. Tesla is showing that the market wants a good electric vehicle. Jim Farley went on to say, "Look at Tesla. Why are they doing what they're doing, and what can we learn from them? First, they have a direct model. There's no one in between. They make it so easy. 3 or 4 clicks, configuring the vehicle with not a lot of complexity to delivering it to the customer. Simple, non-negotiated pricing, a large reservation system, as well as remote service." In contrast to Tesla, which has the ability to sell directly to their customers, Ford has a large dealer network, which means they sell vehicles to the dealer, and then the dealer sells the vehicles to the end customer. Also, unlike when you order a vehicle from Tesla, the price that you see in the reservation page is the price that you actually pay when you pick up your vehicle. However, if you look up the MSRP of, say, a Ford Mustang Mach-E, you're not guaranteed that that's the price you're actually going to pay when you go into a dealership, because ultimately the dealership controls the selling price of the vehicle. Of course, Jim also talked about the convenience of Tesla's mobile service units, which are very convenient because if you have a minor problem with your Tesla, a mobile unit can come out and fix that without you having to take the car anywhere. Whereas that same repair, if it was needed for a Ford vehicle, you would need to drive that to a dealer service center and have them service it for you. This convenience cannot be underrated. Jim went on to say, second, Tesla maximizes the use of electrons in the vehicle. No one does it better than they do. Their customers pay less for a better battery. It's no secret that Tesla's electric vehicles are extremely efficient, more so than Ford's electric vehicles, for instance. And they have a lot more experience manufacturing batteries and battery packs, and Jim Farley acknowledges this. Amazingly enough, Tesla's lead in battery technology will only grow once they start actually putting the 4680 batteries and the structural battery packs in the Tesla Model Y 2.0 coming in the not too distant future. Jim Farley went on to say about Tesla, third, the product itself is highly differentiated from the rest of the internal combustion engine field, and complexity is tiny compared to OEMs. Tesla has definitely set themselves apart when it comes to their clean, modern designs, their impressive performance, and of course, their impressive technology. When it comes to the complexity of Tesla's product lineup, it's very simple compared to most auto manufacturers. For example, if you go online right now to buy a Tesla Model Y, you can choose from one of 2 models, the long-range all-wheel drive or the performance all-wheel drive. In contrast, if you buy a Ford Mustang Mach-E and you go to the online configurator, between the different trim levels, the 2 different battery sizes, and also the 2 different drivetrain options, this gives you the choice of one of 10 different configurations. With fewer different models to manufacture, this allows Tesla to streamline the manufacturing process and not only produce vehicles quicker, but also at a lower cost. Now that we've covered the comments from the Stellantis CEO and Ford's CEO, I'd like to move over now to the CEO of Volkswagen, Herbert Diess. According to a recent CNBC article in a meeting with VW executives, Herbert Diess said the following: "We have to accept that Tesla sets the new benchmarks on the EV side, not only technology-wise, but also when it comes to productivity, speed. I think it's always good to have competition." In the past, Herbert Diess has talked about how Tesla has a lead in technology. But also, as noted in a recent New York Times article, he recently gave some specific manufacturing comparisons between Volkswagen and Tesla. As noted by this November 24th New York Times article, Diess has also talked about how Tesla aims to assemble a new car in just 10 hours with their new production processes at Giga Berlin, whereas Volkswagen's factory in Zwickau currently takes 3 times that much time to assemble the ID.3 or the ID.4. Even with Volkswagen's future planned improvements to this factory, Tesla will still likely be able to produce a vehicle in about half the time as Volkswagen. Unfortunately, it seems like Herbert Diess's days at Volkswagen are numbered. However, I hope that Herbert Diess is able to stay at VW because I believe he's done a lot of good for the company and he's been a great driving force for electrification of a company. So now that I've covered the comments from these CEOs, I'd like to dive into a few comparisons between Tesla and Big Auto. Of course, Tesla has been growing at a huge rate recently. And when you compare the total amount of deliveries that Tesla made in 2020 with what Tesla has already delivered for the first 3 quarters of 2021, Tesla has already delivered well over 100,000 more vehicles in 2021 than they did in the full year of 2020. Now, while Tesla is growing at a very intense pace, when it comes to their total vehicle share, not electric vehicle share, but the total market share for Tesla, they're still actually quite small compared to other vehicle manufacturers. For instance, when you look at the major auto manufacturers and how much market share they have so far for the first half of 2021, you can see that Tesla holds around 1.68% market share for the first half of 2021. And these other companies like Ford, Stellantis, and Volkswagen hold quite a bit more market share in the United States than Tesla. However, I believe these CEOs understand that although they currently hold a lead when it comes to internal combustion engine sales, when it comes to electric vehicles, Tesla is the leader and the market is quickly demanding electric vehicles, so their lead is not going to last long if they don't hurry up and transition to electric vehicles. The demand is so strong for Tesla right now that if you order a Tesla Model 3 right now, you'll have to wait quite a bit of time, especially in the United States and in the UK. The Tesla Model Y also has very long delivery times as well, showing the demand is really strong for Tesla's vehicles. Now, although Tesla may hold a smaller market share, for instance, like we showed in the USA market than these other manufacturers, if you fast forward to just a few years from now, if Tesla is able to continue their 50% or so year-over-year growth increase in deliveries, this company, Tesla, could start being one of the largest auto manufacturers in the world as early as 2027. So in conclusion, what Tesla has done is extremely amazing, and some of these major CEOs, like we mentioned, are starting to acknowledge what Tesla has truly done. Well, thank you so much for watching this video all the way through to the end. I'd like to take a moment to thank the Patreon supporters who support me every month and help make this content possible. A special thank you to my performance supporters and also the other supporters listed on the screen. If you'd like to find out more about the Patreon community I've set up, I'll put a link in the description below. Thank you so much.